Bringing back the bison is an idea the Blood Tribe Lands Department is exploring. These majestic animals once roamed this land in the thousands.
I think from our perspective, it wouldn't be, it would be definitely driven by individuals. I think her son mentioned that as backyard buffalo.
Environmental specialist Paulette Fox and cultural leader Beverly Hungry Wolf consulted with some park officials in Canada's Grasslands National Park in Saskatchewan to get some feedback in the tribe's ventures.
The buffalo is a very sacred animal, but it was taken from us at a very early stage because it supplied our homes, it was like a supermarket for us, the buffalo, everything, spoons, scraping tools.
Elk Island for decades has had a program where we provided bison to First Nations, to those people who lived historically within Plains Bison Range. We wouldn't give it to First Nations in Northwest Territories, for example. But our program revolved around a nucleus herd of 6 animals, which the park provided free to any First Nations that lived in the prairies. That changed a few years ago with fiscal constraints in parks, and they charged a minimum capture and handling fee to the First Nations. And I provided bison to probably 30 different bands, mostly in Saskatchewan, but in Alberta as well. The program still exists, and you can get them at a subsidized rate from Elk Island.
Bison expert Wes Olson has worked with the Parks Canada bison for decades and says the Blood Tribe is an ideal habitat to raise this majestic beast.
I've been to a lot of places with bison, almost most of them in North America. And to me, I've yet to be to a place that typifies bison so much as here. The landscape just suits them so perfectly.
Some experts believe that when the bison was no longer a part of the First Nations people's diet, that's when health issues arose.
Because the buffalo is not around anymore, we're starting to stray off the road, if I can call it, the buffalo way of life. In fact, for the physical health of the people, buffalo meat, for instance, is so much healthier than, beef. And that's why our people in the past hardly ever got sick. We weren't dying of cancer. We didn't have sugar diabetes. We're being, sugar diabetes is running rampant amongst our people because we went from a diet that was high in protein, and now we shifted over to a diet that's high in carbohydrates.
The genetics of First Nations people is different according to Little Bear. He said the thrifty gene still exists in their digestive tract.
What the thrifty gene does is that it saves all of the energy in our body and saves it and stores it in us for future use. In other words, those times when we hit hard times and there was no food, well, our body actually stored enough energy to last through those hard periods. Medical specialists have been saying about the thrifty gene is that if you put an Indian and a white guy to do the same exercise, the Indian will get more out of the exercise than the white guy. In other words, that's because of that thrifty gene. So if we got to be educated about it, that would mean, hey, just a little bit of exercise on a daily basis would help us recover that health that we used to have.
Bringing the bison back to the reserve won't happen overnight. Consultation with elders, chief and council, and other residents will be a priority.